You ever wonder why there's people in the world that question every little thing? You ever wonder why there's people who are constantly telling others they need to wake up and see that they're in a matrix illusion or that there are problems in the world and that other people are not listening to them? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly why that exists in this world and why we can't just pass it off and say they're crazy people. Because actually, they can be giving us a warning. And to not just themselves, but to the world at large. They do have a role. If nobody's going to warn us, who will? But it goes much deeper than that. Let's get to what is the foundations to the idea of someone being a conspiracy theorist, that scary term that is used too often to denote an individual who questions reality and questions the mainstream narrative. Now they might be questioning things that you and I agree with. That's not something they should question. They're just questioning like crazy. But other things we might disagree with and say, well, that might be actually kind of interesting. Everybody has different preferences. Everybody's got different opinions. So why can't they share that with one another? I think this is the key. So let's break this down. The kind of content that those who challenge the mainstream narrative have to produce, such as myself, is not ordinarily the same as any other content. I admit, I am not the same content creator as a lot of other content creators out there. I'd like to think that I am, but it doesn't necessarily work the same way. It doesn't follow the same guidelines, it doesn't appeal to the same audiences, it doesn't often make people's day better. Yet if it weren't for these people who question society, who would? And if they challenge the mainstream for some sense of truth not yet embraced, then a better day is the goal, a better future in world is the destiny. In addition, if they choose to be on certain platforms to share such, they can only hope that the guidelines may support their efforts just as anyone else would. Also, the thoughts that arise in such individuals means that they are not alone, and sooner or later, people will come to know of them and they find an audience. Therefore, it may seem that actually those who challenge the status quo are in fact still on fair grounds with those who don't. Except one big problem. It is the nature of the status quo and the current said truths of the time that it is at war with deceit and censorship. It is married just as much as slavery and rebellion. The hardships will be unlike anything else the more extreme the views become. It should also be said that the call for suppressing an individual other than you is asking for your own suppression, and this is in every form, as it is the golden rule. Despite this, voluntary communities will always persist, and to respect boundaries as such is often the very reason why people concern so much for the truth when it isn't respected, especially when those who speak truth feel as if they aren't being heard. In a world where certain platforms dominate and actively push certain content that continues deceit or suppression takes place and people ignore it. If it weren't for systems of suppression, there would be no systemic truthers. If it weren't for disregard and attack, there would be less fuel to the fire of those with their burning passion and sharing truth. The act of suppression essentially breeds distrust and division, the need for transparency and unity. This is no surprise psychologically and by also understanding the ancient wisdom of Taoism. More controls do not breed more unity and order, but actually quite the opposite. And it's not that social platforms are to have no controls, it's to say that contrary to popular belief, freedom creates order with the proper restraints that make freedom possible. Those proper restraints are debated endlessly in governments because it uses violence against those who do not comply. Whereas, when it comes to social platforms, such restraints are not so much the issue if one can just merely leave voluntarily those platforms and join others or create their own. However, again, the problem arises when these platforms become dominant. Individuals feel like they have no choice. In reality, however, they do. They always do. For governments, however, they always don't, unless they are without, for which this possibility tells us again, people always do have the choice, even when they think they totally don't. People create all these systems, the businesses, the products, the services, the industries, the governments, the religions, all of it. Even if it be that some people claim that these come of the works of God or nature, it is man who delivers and man who adds his touch, and that is always his choice. For what we know what is given by nature, that we cannot change by choice, is truth itself. And those who limit choice can only attempt to do so, when truth has it that we are always to have choice. And in addition, truth is always one of the choices. This means that those who limit truth limit choice, and those who limit choice limit truth. Those who limit voluntary interaction limit freedom and ownership. They limit the rules which tell us the problem with rulers. Limits is all that can be set for one's nature because it has infinite potential, a light ever wanting to be shined. Whereas the individual of truth doesn't set limits upon evil. They abolish it altogether because it's evil and it should not be permitted. The only limits the individual of truth sets is their own. The rules overrule the rulers. The individual overrules some person imagining to be some authority over other people. Why is it precisely that the ordinary individual overrules authority figures? Well, because in truth, we are all just people, and they stand with the truth. That's it, folks. I am just telling you that you should be you, that humans should treat other humans as humans with mutual respect, right? Now, again, there's always going to be rules within society, such as that very mere moral rule that we go about our lives non-violently, peacefully, voluntarily. And those rules are always to be upheld above rulers because we would hold them to the same rules, would we not? We want them to be fair, we want them to help us. But there's a big problem. The very concept of rulers actually contradicts this notion of individual conscience and thinking for ourselves and always doing what is right. Because if you're following orders of some authority, you're giving up your own conscience. You're not thinking for yourself what is right and wrong, or maybe you are, but you ignore it in your action. You do what you're told to do because you're told to do it. And therefore morality leaves the equation because legality becomes morality. So you have this contention in society where people are doing things they know they shouldn't do, and then you have this distrust and you have this dishonesty, and then you wonder why there's a bunch of conspiracy theorists over there who are screaming up into the sky saying, what is going on here? Why aren't you paying attention? Why aren't you waking up? I don't blame them, especially since that system that allows violence, that allows immoral behavior, is going to aggregate and cause more problems within society. And those people who have power are typically going to be psychopaths that are drawn to those positions. They're going to have a lot of weird tendencies and weird behaviors, and they're going to be hiding different things and causing a bunch of other problems. That if there's not people on the outlook for it, again, who will? So maybe this will help you see a different light upon the idea of conspiracy and the root cause to it, which is actually this belief system in human authority, which is statism. You probably never heard of this belief system because guess what? A lot of conspiracy theorists don't talk about it either. Root cause to the root cause to the root cause, you have to look pretty deep, but it is our mentalities, it's our belief systems, it's the things that we have that we don't realize that we have, and that's why we're creating an unconscious world or a world of disorder. So you trace it all the way back down, you come to this belief system which has also been demonstrated in the Stanley Milgram experiment. Not a lot of people know about it. I share these facts in a lot of my videos for that reason, and I also share these questions I'm going to put on the screen for you. Think about these questions for yourself, pause the video if you must, and reflect on your own conscience. What is the answer to these questions? Okay, be honest, be yourself, answer honestly, please. So thank you very much for watching. Send us your article. We'll turn to a video for you. Learn more about all this information. We do everything here for free and educational purposes only. Okay, we want to create unity in the world. We want to bring people together, and we simply want to respect that humanity, keep our humanity, the things that matter most in life, love, happiness, peace, right? And we want to really find out what is the solution to that. So the solution to statism is voluntarism and sharing the message that is these videos, that is, all the things we're doing, but you can get involved. I want you to have a voice in this too. And so please, not vote, but actually your real voice. Speak to others, talk to others, learn from the people who you think are dangerous and conspiracy theorists. I mean, everybody's got something to share. Everybody's passionate for a reason. Okay, so this is a plea for an open mind, for an open heart, for humanity to really care about one another. This is the key. Thank you very much for watching. This is Corey Angelat, the Liberator 2 News.